July is here, so that means hunting is near. Today I'm going over my backcountry elk gear list. I have a couple elk hunts this fall, one in Wyoming, one in New Mexico. They're gonna be around 10-day backcountry style. I like mobile camp. You know, I'm expecting a variety of temperatures that September time frame. And similar to how trail did, I'm gonna go in different categories. So we're gonna start off with clothing, then I'll go to my sleep system, talk about my gear, why I bring what I do. And again, right now in the goHUNT gear shop, we'll have this collection, my gear list, that you can check out any of the gear that I brought in the goHUNT gear shop. Also right now, it's 2x insider points. So if you buy gear, you're gonna get 2 times the reward points. So that's a great promotion we're running right now. Perfect time for you guys that wanna buy some gear and you can get some reward points, double the reward points. So let's jump in. Right now, I'm gonna go over my clothing that I'm bringing for a backcountry elk hunt. We're gonna just kind of start with the clothes worn. So trying out some new pants this year. These are Fjallraven Keb Agile pants. A little lighter material than like the Kebs. Great for elk hunting. I tend to run a little bit hot, so I like lighter stuff for most of my clothing, and that's just me personally. So I'll be running the Keb Agile. I'll wear those pretty much every day, all the time. Great pants, reinforced knees, reinforced ass, so you got that durability to go along with it. And then for my base layer tops, I got a couple options. I got the Stone Glacier. This is the Enduro hoodie. This is all synthetic, super lightweight, great for protecting from the sun. So I'll probably wear this a lot in those hotter days. And then another good base layer is this Stone Glacier Chinook, which is a merino nylon mix. And depending on how cool it is, I might pair this next to skin and do this over the top. And then kind of like that mid base layer that I'll probably wear a lot is the Stone Glacier. This is the Helio hoodie. It's that grid fleece on the inside. Wicks moisture good. This is one of my favorite pieces from Stone Glacier. And if there's one thing that I would recommend that people could probably ditch weight on, it'd definitely be in your clothing. I think there's a lot of times people bring way too much clothes than they actually realize, and most of the time you're wearing the same thing every day. So I would highly recommend that you guys dig into your gear list, especially your clothing department if you're looking to cut some weight. Going on to my puffies. Grumman, Stone Glacier, puffy jacket, Grumman, puffy pants. Some people think puffy pants might be overkill, but September last year, I got snowed on every single hunt I went on from August all the way to November. Puffy pants are always a good option to bring, especially at night. You can sleep in them, keep warm, so you can bring a little bit lighter sleeping bag if you need to. And they're always just a good comfort to have. If you never know what the weather's gonna be, so it's good to have all your puffy gear, and they weigh like next to nothing. goHUNT beanie, gotta have a goHUNT beanie. And then rain gear, I got the Stone Glacier M5 rain gear. So like as you can see, I don't bring a ton of clothes. I bring the stuff that's important. So if I get cold, I have puffy clothes. I have all my down jacket and pants. So I don't need a ton of base layers and mid layers because I know I can just throw this on. And then one thing to consider always is your rain gear. So rain gear, I look at my rain jacket as another layer. That's an outer layer. Let's say I want to put that on over my Enduro hoodie if it's windy or cold. That's another layer that you can use that you could possibly cut from your clothes, your base layers, or your midsection layers that the rain jacket can do the exact same thing. So there's definitely some things to consider when looking at your clothing and cutting weight. And this is kind of what I found works for me. Like I said, I run hot, so I don't need a ton of clothes. And I've done enough hunts where I know exactly what I wear, and I end up wearing the same thing every day. Also to note, I don't have my underwear here. I wear the Sax underwear. I bring one pair. I'm a sicko like that. I just wear the same underwear for 10 days straight. Doesn't bother me at all. Socks, darn tough. 2012 boot cushion socks. I do bring 2 socks because your feet will make or break your hunt. And just in case you get in some wet conditions, it's always good to have a dry pair that you can throw on. Put these in your sleeping bag, dry out that night. You can just keep swapping them back and forth. So I do bring 2 pair of socks, darn tough 2012. New boots I'm trying out this year. These are the Mammut Tiass Light. Last year I ran the Mammut Kento Guide. Love those boots. Very similar. Super stiff, about a 5 on our flex rate. I would say maybe a little less than a 5 personally from trying these on and using them. Similar to the Kento, super lightweight, stiff boot. I've kind of gone to the stiffer boots in the last couple years. I used to be kind of that mid flex 3, but with elk hunting, you're in a lot of steep and deep drainages. It's good to have stiffer boots to save your legs, ankles, calves, so your legs won't get as tired when you have the stiffer boots, because it'll do more work for you than you know. And kind of with me, was always hard for me to find was a stiff boot that's fairly lightweight, but nowadays there's a lot of options, some synthetic materials that you can get stiffer and lighter boots than what we have in the past. So I definitely check these out if you like stiff, light boots. Now we're gonna jump into my sleep system, including my shelter. So we'll start with my shelter. Like I said, backcountry hunt, I like to stay mobile, quick, fast. I've been running this tent for the last couple years. I've had no problems at all, even in 5 to 6 inches of snow, it's always held up. This is the Stone Glacier Sky Air ULT tarp, and I run a vestibule and the mesh insert on the inside. What I like about the mesh insert on the inside is it kind of got a bathtub in the bottom, so if you do get a lot of rain and water, you don't ever get wet underneath it if you just had the tarp. So I recommend the mesh insert if you know you're gonna have some bad weather. And then the vestibule is really nice to have, so you can put your gear underneath that, so everything fits perfectly underneath this tent. And then I got some stakes. I have an assortment of stakes. I have the Stone Glacier ones. I have some MSR needle stakes. Gotta have those. And then my sleeping pad. So this is a Thermarest NeoAir X Lite. I've been running this pad for a couple years. I've had problems in the past going ultra lightweight with pads and then having them pop because the material is so thin. This seems to be kind of right in the middle. It's a 4 in the R rating, so you can take this into later season hunts. I use this same pad year round from early season to late season. Super durable material. It is a little bit noisier than some pads that I've found, but I'll take that if I know I'm not getting a hole in my sleeping pad. Another hot tip for you, and I've had this happen to me, on an early season hunt especially, or if you know the day's gonna be really hot and you have your sleeping pad in your tent, a lot of the times when you fully blow up your sleeping pad and you go out that day, what happens is the hot air will expand your sleeping pad, and sometimes it'll expand it so much that it'll actually tear some seams and you'll have a hole, and it'll be very hard to find. So I always like to deflate my sleeping pad before I go out that day if I know it's gonna be hot, just to prevent that from happening, because I've had it happen to me and it's not very fun. It is impossible to find that hole when it's just kind of a split seam and it's a slow leak. So I'd recommend every time you go out on your hunt, just kind of deflate your pad so that heat from the day doesn't expand your pad more than it's capable. Pillow, gotta have a pillow. This is just a Climate XL pillow. I love pillows. Weighs next to nothing. I can sleep better. Get a pillow if you don't have a pillow. Quit using your down jacket as a pillow. Climate XL pillow. Sleeping bag. This old warrior has been with me for a while now, and I absolutely love it. It is the Stone Glacier Chilkoot 15 degree. You may think 15 degrees is a little bit overkill, but it's fairly lightweight. And the reason I like 15 degree is I buy once, cry once. I can use this sleeping bag for my elk hunts in September all the way to my late season hunts in November. I've never gotten cold in this sleeping bag. Plus, what I like about this sleeping bag is it's a lot wider in the shoulders than most sleeping bags. So if you're someone that rolls around, likes a little more room, you don't like being suffocated in those mummy tight sleeping bags, I'd highly recommend the Stone Glacier Chilkoot 15 degree. All around, buy once, cry once, use it for every single hunt. That's what I do with this sleeping bag right here. So that's kind of my sleep system, nothing too crazy, along with my shelter. And we're gonna jump into, let's see what we should go into. We're gonna go into my weapon next. So the weapon I'll be taking on these Archery Elk hunts, this is the Mathews V3X 33. Been using this all last year. Love this bow, fits me really good. Just kind of going over some stuff that I have on it. I got the Hamskea Epsilon rest, limb driven. What's really nice about this rest is it goes directly onto the rest system that the Mathews has on these new bows, so it works great for that. Also, bomb proof. Best rest on the market in my opinion. Love the guys over at Hamskea. Check that one out if you want. Sight, I got the XL. This is a 3-pin landslide sight. I decided to go with the 3-pin this year. I have been shooting the Spot Hog double pin. With elk, there's a lot of times you don't know what yardage the elk's gonna come in at. They can vary all over the place. So I feel like having 3-pin is pretty much set for all of it. You know, probably going over your average shot on elk, I would say it's probably 30 yards is your probably average shot that you have on an elk during archery season. So I have 20, 30, 40 covered, and then I can also slide it if need be on the longer shots. So I'm gonna try out the 3-pin this year, give it a whirl. My peep, this is the Hamsky Raptor peep. This is the 3/16 that we have. I've been shooting all different sizes this year, and I keep going back to the 3/16. This just fits well for this housing, and I just feel really comfortable with that peep sight since that's the size that I've been shooting for years. So I'm gonna stick with it. Stabilizers. I got the Bee Stinger Micro Hex on the front. This is a 15. I got 4 ounces out front. People probably think it's overkill a little bit, but to me, my weapon's my most important thing that I can bring out in the field, because that's what essentially is going to bring me success when that opportunity comes. So I prefer a little bit heavier bow, a little more stable, better shooting, better hold. So when I'm super nervous, there's not going to be any shake. Muscle memory takes over. And I just seem to hold and shoot better with a 15 out front. And I also have a 10-degree down disconnect on the front. You're probably wondering why I got 2 different stabilizers. This one's a 10-inch AAE Mountain series. The reason is because I don't have another 10-inch, and I didn't feel like buying another one to match this one. So I don't really care what they look like. They do the same thing, but yeah, I have a 10-inch Mountain AAE stabilizer in the back, and I think I got, what do I got out back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got about 5 ounces out back. And then that also comes with the Matthews disconnect in the back that has the different micro adjustments for you to tinker around with, which is really nice. Other than that, that's the bow I'll be taking. I've been shooting this a lot. It's been shooting great for me. I can't say anything more about how nice this V3X shoots for me, especially I'm about the 29.5 draw length, so it's got a good angle when I draw back. Super comfortable, holds well, fits me really nice. So if you're in that longer draw length, like 29, 30, 31, I'd check out this V3X for sure. Arrow setup. I'm shooting a Pierce Platinum 300, 28.5 carbon to carbon. I got a 4 fletch. I'm gonna be running the AAE Max vanes on it. I've been playing around with a lot of vanes, and it seems like the taller, a little bit taller vanes, especially if you're shooting a fixed, are gonna fly a little bit better. I've shot these before in the past. They shoot really good for me. They're super forgiving, and that's ultimately what I'm looking for. I'm trying to build the most forgiving setup possible, so when that time comes, I don't have to think. My bow is the most forgiving, so if I do mess up, my bow or arrow will help with that a little bit. Broadhead I'm shooting, this is the Sever 1.5. You know, I go back and forth on fixed or not, and the thing that I like about mechanicals the most is the accuracy. Most of the time, 99% of the time, I know exactly where this arrow is gonna hit, no matter how I'm holding the bow, no matter where I'm standing. This arrow is going to fly a little bit better with this mechanical broadhead compared to a fixed where it's not as forgiving. And like I said, I'm trying to build the most forgiving setup possible. So I like shooting mechanical broadheads. I don't really care what animal it is. I shoot a 70-pound bow. This is a 450 grain arrow. I haven't had any problems going through elk. So I'm going to use this Sever 1.5. Has done good for me. So that's my arrow. Like I said, 450 grains is plenty to get the job done. Quiver, I got the tight spot quiver, and one thing people have asked me or noticed in my last film, the Alaska hunt, I don't shoot ever with a quiver on, so I don't like to hunt with a quiver on, and I could not find it, but I have, it's a Total Peep hip quiver. So what it is, it's connects to your quiver, and then it connects to your belt loop, so you can keep your quiver on your belt loop at all times, rather than having it on your bow, giving you extra weight off the side of your bow. I just feel like I'm better off with nothing else on my bow besides my stabilizers. That's how I practice all the time. So like I said, the Total Peep hip quiver, there's a lot of people asking me questions about that. That's what I use to mount my quiver onto my hip while I'm hunting. And what's nice about that Total Peep is you can twist it around and move it all different directions. So whatever's most comfortable when you're hiking, you can also connect it right to your pack on your hip belt. So that's a good option if you don't like shooting with your quiver on your bow. And that's kind of how I see it is, like I said, I'm looking for the most forgiving setup, something I practice with all the time, so I try to keep this hip quiver off my bow when I shoot. So that's my weapon setup for Archery Elk. Now we'll jump into my optics that I'll be taking on my backcountry elk hunts. Going into my optics setup for a backcountry elk hunt, most of the time, I'm usually just taking 10x42s with me in a rangefinder. A lot of the country that I like to elk hunt, there's not a lot of area to glass. I'm usually in thick timber. So I'll usually keep my spotter and tripod in the truck. If we're going to a different area that we know we can glass, I'll bring this. But a lot of the times, I'm usually just bringing 10x42s on my chest and a rangefinder on a lot of my elk hunts that I go on. No tripod, no spotting scope. And these are all usually general hunts over the counter, so I'm not too picky on the size, you know, so I don't really feel I need to bring this extra weight for most of my elk hunts that I go on. So going further into that, the 10x42s, UHD from Vortex, love these binos. 10x42s seem to work the best for me. I like that wider field of view. I don't miss a lot. 12s are a little bit shakier. I'm just really comfortable behind 10x42s, and I feel like I can pick up more game. And a lot of the times you're elk hunting, you're free-handing it. So I would recommend 10x42s. Plus it's just a great all-around optic to have for any type of hunting, even if you put it on a tripod. So those are the Razor UHD. I got those in the Marsupial medium. This is the fully enclosed version. Obviously, got your wind checker on the side. Got to have that for elk hunting. And then for my rangefinder, I got the Vortex Razor HD 4000. This is 7x25. Really good rangefinder. The button's super easy to click, which I really like, especially, you know, in your shaky times, pressure's on. Sometimes those rangefinders can be a little bit trickier to click, the ones that are harder. So I like a button that's fairly easy to push when rangefinding. And it fits perfectly into my Marsupial rangefinder pouch here. And it also comes with like this little tether, so if you are in a quick moment, your rangefinder, you just set it down, it'll just sit there and it won't fall on the ground, you won't lose your rangefinder. But for the most part, this is what I'll take for optics on backcountry elk hunt. No tripod, no spotting scope. This is what I've used on a lot of my elk hunts in the past. It's worked great for me. And if I do know I'm going to a spot where I can glass and I can see more country, or if I have, let's say, maybe a limited entry tag, something that I know I'm looking for a specific size of bull, I'll bring a spotter and a tripod. So my tripod, this is the Sirui T024SK with the VA5 fluid head on top. Great, lightweight, still sturdy enough to handle bigger optics. I highly recommend that. Plus we sell it in a kit right now, not too expensive. The VA5 head is worth your money. You can put that on a lot of different tripods. Love that VA5 head. And for the spotter, I tend to go a little bit lightweight. Like I mentioned, a lot of times I haven't yet had the opportunity to draw a really good tag where I'm looking for trophies. So I usually lean to a little bit lighter weight to save my back. So this is the Razor. This is the Razor 65. So it's 22x48 power. Just a good lightweight spotting scope for elk, mule deer. I use it for all different types of hunts. And then obviously I have this little sleeve on top of it, which I have used a sock before, which kind of sucks. So I would recommend getting this nice sleeve. I've been one of those guys that's pretty hard on my gear, and it's good to go the extra mile to protect it. You spend a lot of money, protect your optics. Cody Nelson would be very proud of me saying that. Also clean them. I'm terrible at cleaning my optics, so if they look a little dirty, they are a little dirty, but I'm gonna clean them before season. And then I always just keep my phone scope case on my phone. I got my adapter for my spotting scope, which what's nice about this Vortex little sleeve that comes with your spotting scope is I usually just keep this right on here, right on my spotter, and then I can just put this right over the top of it. So I know every time I go to my spotter, this is always on there. So that's kind of my optic setup that I'll take. Like I said, most of the time, I'm sticking just the 10x42s and rangefinder for most of my backcountry elk hunts. Now we'll be going into kind of my camp kitchen, water filtration setup. goHUNT Nalgene, 1 liter. What I really like about this is the wide mouth, especially for one of my purification methods, is a stereo pen. This is ultralight UV. It's good to have the wide mouth so you can get in there and do that. The reason I like to have the wide mouth in this, so when I'm going across the stream real quick and I don't have to dig in my bag to get my bladder out, I can just fill this up, sterilize it real quick. It's just on the go, ready to go all the time. I've also used like water bottles I get at the gas station if you want a little bit lighter. I would just recommend wider mouth, easier to fill up water, and if you have a stereo pen, easier to get in there and sterilize that water. Like I mentioned, I got the Platypus 3 liter zip. I've had this for a long time, haven't had any issues. I would say that sometimes these newer ones can pull off at the bottom. So if you are worried about that, maybe zip tie that. I know some people have had that break off in their backpack. So that's one thing to consider. But if you're gonna bring a bladder, I recommend the 3 liter. You wanna get water, you wanna get as much as you can when you're there. So I always like to go with the 3 liter. I sound like a broken record, so I think I've said that 10,000 times in all my gearless videos. It's just stuck in my head. 3 liter, platypus, big zip. And then for my main water purification, I'm a drops guy, big drops guy. Simple, lightweight, never have any issues. I will say though, if you are worried about, drinking some seaweed or whatever the hell's in the water, it can be a little gritty, but if you don't care, you like the simplicity, I recommend drops. I've never had any bad flavor from these. It's really simple. You mix these together. It's 7 drops each. You mix them together for 1 liter. So really easy. The only thing is when you do put in your water, you have to wait about 30 minutes depending on how cold the water is. But yeah, these are the only 2 water purifications that I take with me. Drops I use most of the time. My Steri pen is just for on the go, quick filling up water when I'm at a stream. And I know I have water in my bladder. I just need to fill up a quick Nalgene. It's kind of my quick, easy to go. I just started using this last year. I just bought it because I was always scared, like, does this thing actually work? And it does work. So far, I haven't gotten sick. I used to take the Trail Shot MSR pump, but pumps are a pain in the ass, okay? I'm never bringing a pump anymore. I hate pumps. They're always clogged. They suck. You're always getting tired doing it. Don't need a pump. Not reliable. Drops are the way to go, or the Steri pen. Now, going on to my cook kitchen. Fairly simple, lightweight cook kitchen. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm just trying to boil water as fast as possible. And what I found to do that most efficiently and save the most weight, this is the DeSoto Windmaster. This is by far one of the best stoves that you can get. If you wanted something to boil really fast and lightweight, I would highly recommend looking at this DeSoto Windmaster. I haven't found anything that can boil water as fast as this so far. Then always just gotta have a fuel tank. I usually just bring 1 small one. That's if I'm boiling water once a day. I've quit drinking coffee in the mornings. It sucks to wake up early. I usually don't ever do it. I wanna rest as much as possible. Plus it's a waste of water and coffee dehydrates you. So that's my hot take on coffee. Even though I do love coffee every day, on a backcountry hunt, I don't take it. In the mornings, I'll just chew some Red Man or some nicotine pouches. That's my energy. So I can save a little weight, bring less fuel. I just need 1 tank for, 7 to 10 days will do me just fine. Then for my pot, this is the Seek Outside titanium pot. What I really like about this is the dual purposes. You got handle, you can use it as a cup. You can even use it as a little kettle to put over the fire just in case this goes out. So I like the dual purpose of this, super lightweight, and everything fits nicely inside of it so I can keep it all contained. Also, one thing to note with this DeSoto is it comes with an igniter, so you don't have to worry about if your lighter's broken or you lose a lighter. I don't have a lighter on this table right now, but I promise you I'll bring like 3 different lighters because that is always one of my biggest fear, not having a lighter. But it's always good to have a stove that has an igniter with it so you don't have to worry about it just in case you do lose a lighter. Spoon, Sea to Summit, long spoon. I mean, you gotta have a long spoon if you're eating mountain houses and peak refuels every day. Get all the way into the bottom. I would bring an extra one in your truck because these little utensils seem to sneak off a lot or you can't find them. For some reason you lose it. It's always nice to have it back in the truck so if you do go back, you have an extra one. So I would bring 2 of these, not with me, but 1 in the truck. So that's kind of my water filtration, camp kitchen. Fairly simple, nothing too crazy. I'm trying to keep it as lightweight and as efficient as possible. I want to save my energy and time focusing on hunting and not about all this other gear. So it's pretty simple stuff when it comes to my camp kitchen and water filtration. Now, the last but not least, kind of my miscellaneous plus my kill kit, all that good stuff. The rest of the stuff that I'll have in my pack with me at all times. First, we'll start with compression sack. So this is the Sea to Summit medium, and this fits the Stone Glacier Chilkoot 15 degree. I get a lot of questions on what size compression sack I use for that. This is a medium size. It's a little tight, but it fits it all. Compress it down nice. So medium for the Chilkoot 15-degree sleeping bag. Game bags, Caribou Gear. I've used their game bags for many, many years now. Great game bags. And like I've said, and I mentioned before, for elk, I like to bring 4 mule deer size game bags. And the reason is because I like that narrower fit when I put it in my pack so it doesn't splay out the sides. And a lot of the times on these backcountry hunts, you're cutting up, you're deboning that elk fully. I'm not taking them out on full quarters. So I would recommend the mule deer size so they're a little bit narrower. So when you put it in your pack, you don't have any of that splaying out the sides, and it seems to feel better, hold better on your pack with those size game bags. I'll bring 4 of those. Trekking poles. These are the Lecky MVC trekking poles. The main reason why I bring trekking poles is mostly for my shelter. A lot of the times I'm not using trekking poles a lot, but after our boy Dan Ducey came in here and told me about trekking poles and how much weight they save off your back and your feet and your legs, I might consider that more, because they really can save a lot of weight and tear on your body for when you're hiking around, especially on these backcountry elk hunts. You have your full pack loaded down every single day, up and down the mountain. I might consider using trekking poles more. As much as I hate to say that, because they do piss me off when I'm hiking, I'm always getting in my way. I've never been a fan of trekking poles. Usually for my shelter, I need it to set up the Sky Air ULT. You need 2 trekking poles to pitch that. But like I said, my guy Dan Ducey's got me converted. I'm gonna have to start using trekking poles more often, save my body some wear and tear. So trekking poles, gotta recommend those. Kind of going into my kill kit. Like I said, I got the 4 caribou game bags, the mule deer size. I like to bring 2 knives. So the 2 knives I bring, this is the Havalon regular knife. These come with the 60A blades, surgical blades. Whoa, this is why you do gearless, because you check them. My blade's completely snapped off in that one, so we're gonna have to replace that. So these are good for like your easier cuts, you know, taking the skin off the animal. And then I bring, this is the 3.0 Razor Light from Outdoor Edge. It's the same kind of style. This blade is replaceable, but this is a thicker blade than the 60A. So this is going to be a little bit tougher blade. I can do a little bit harder cuts. And this is super lightweight, easy to use. I used to bring like a full-on one-piece knife, but this replaceable, just a little bit stiffer than the 60A blades. So I definitely check it out. That's the Razor Light EDC from Outdoor Edge. So those are the 2 knives I'll bring. Obviously, I have some extra blades for each. Another thing to note about this, the Outdoor Edge, the Razor Light, is these blades are thicker. I think they are thick enough where you can actually resharpen these if need be. So that's one thing to note about those. Have some electrical tape. I have my good old trusty pen with some Luca tape wrapped around it for blisters or hot spots that you get on the back. This is an old warrior. This thing's been on every single hunt. I bet you it doesn't even work. Nope. We're gonna have to get a new pen. We're gonna have to get a new pen. All right, paracord. Gotta have some paracord. Depending on where you're at, let's say I'm in Wyoming, Grizz country, I'd probably look at some different paracord, some slick cord, and probably a little bit longer length since I have to be hanging my food. But for the most part, a lot of my elk hunts, I'm not in Grizz country. I just need a little bit of paracord to hang some quarters. Plus, if need be, guy outs for my tent, so on. So it's always good to have some paracord with you at all times. So that's kind of my kill kit. Other miscellaneous gear. Garmin InReach Mini. Always have this. Text your loved ones when you're out in the field. Tell people if you're successful. Stay in touch with your buddies on the hunt. Pretty easy. Be sure to get the right plan. I will recommend that, because I have messed up on that one before. I had the wrong plan and I went way over my messages. I was in Alaska forever. I had the wrong plan. I had to pay the ultimate price, literally the ultimate price for using this bad boy. So double check, set up your plan. It's really easy to set up your plan. Do it before every hunt. You can choose how much messages you're looking to send throughout that hunt, but gotta have the Garmin InReach Minis for all the safety messaging needs. Headlamps. I bring 2 headlamps on every hunt. This is the Petzl Actic. It's my go-to. I wear most of the time. And I have the rechargeable battery on the inside, so I don't have to worry about bringing extra batteries to charge this. I can just charge it with my solar panel or my pocket juice. I have USB cord. So that's a Petzl Actic. You know, with the headlamps, I've gotten some where there's like too many settings and I'm like clicking it 1,000 different times. It's brightness, dullness. I like to keep it fairly simple. Click it on, click another time it's brighter, click another time it's brighter, another time it's off. So simplicity with my headlamps. And then my backup is the Petzl Bindy. Lightweight, super bright, just a little backup just in case this guy falls off my head and I lose it in the weeds, or for some reason it doesn't work. I always like to have a backup headlamp just in case. Medical kit. This is the Ultralight Medical Kit 5. We sell these in the goHUNT gear shop along with other medical kits. It's probably one of those things I need to do a better job on, and I think we've talked about maybe doing a video in the future about, you know, different medical measures that we need to have in the backcountry, because it's probably something we take for granted a lot because nothing's happened, but it's always good to be prepared. So that's always something I like to look in, make sure everything I have, everything I need is in my medical kit, because when you do need it, you're going to want to have it. So I definitely double check your medical kits, all the pills, painkillers, any of that kind of stuff that you need throughout your hunt. I usually bring some like extra ibuprofen, some like nighttime ibuprofen to help me sleep, because throughout the day, a lot of the backcountry hunts, you're pretty sore, so it's always good to kind of keep that inflammation down. But yeah, double check your medical kits before you go out in the field. Make sure you got everything. And then a lot of this miscellaneous gear, I'm just going to put right here in this Mystery Rancher Zoid bag, so I can just throw it in my pack. I know right away where everything is, where I need it. I can get it out quick. Just kind of keep everything organized so it's not all just laying in my pack somewhere I don't know. Pack fly, I have no clue what brand this is. I just throw it on. Buy whatever pack fly you want. As long as it's waterproof, I think you'll be good. Small, lightweight. I've had this thing for a long time. It's bright red. I haven't had to use it too much, but always got to have one just in case you're in torrential downpour for a long time. Toothpaste, toothbrush. Got to keep your chompers clean out there. I just bring a tiny little toothpaste, and then it's just kind of a travel toothbrush. I could probably get rid of this, to be honest with you, and just go do one of those, but it's kind of nice having it clean. So nothing too crazy with that. Toilet paper. I bring this whole entire roll of toilet paper on my backcountry hunts because I shit everywhere. I will not bring this whole roll of toilet paper. I just always have it in my tote, so I'll probably take whatever as much as I need, but definitely not going to be the whole roll. I've never been a fan of wet wipes. I'm with Brady on that one. I've never understood it. I think it makes it more messy, but I like the old-fashioned toilet paper. Gotta have that. Then kind of going into like my charging, what I use, because obviously I got a lot of stuff to charge. My phone, especially since I'm using goHUNT maps on it as my navigation, I need to keep this charged. So I'll have a solar panel for those sunny days where maybe I'm sitting at lunch. I can help charge. It's always a good source to have just in case if you need it. And then I recommend these pocket juices. I think I buy them at Best Buy. They have all sorts of different kinds, but you can get a ton of charges out of these pocket juices for like 50 bucks, I think they cost, depending on how many watts you get. They seem to work the best, give me the most charge, are the pocket juices, so I'll keep using that. And that has the different USB that can charge my phone, my headlamp, my Garmin InReach, and then just in case for backup, if this thing dies, I also have my Goal Zero solar panel to do that. And then this last baggie I got here, I got some USB cords for the variety of different things that I need to charge. I got a couple AAA batteries. I don't know why I have AAA batteries. I think I need to ditch those. I don't even think I have anything that takes AAA batteries anymore. But I used to bring AAA batteries for my headlamp, but I think I've pretty much converted everything to USB charge, so I can probably ditch some weight there. Then I have a couple Allen wrenches in there, whether that be for my optics, my bow. Always good to have a couple Allen wrenches handy just in case. And then another thing I don't have here is what I'll put in this baggie is some archery tools just in case I need to fix something. So that'll be D-loop, serving, some Allen wrenches that I can use on all my different tools that I got, and that's kind of it that I'll bring for my archery equipment just in case something does break. I almost forgot to mention one of the most important pieces of gear, my pack. So for backcountry elk hunts, I take the Sky Archer Stone Glacier 6400. The reason I like this pack is it's got this side zip on the side where you can put, it's built for a spotting scope pouch, but what I use it for on these type of hunts, depending if I bring my spotting scope or not, a lot of the times I don't bring a spotting scope. So I'll put all my sleep system, my sleeping pad, my pillow right here on the side so I can get in there, quick access, pull it out, because I'm just usually putting up a camp, putting it back in every day. So that's kind of why I like this 6400. Plus 6400, it's a good fit for the amount of days I usually do for elk hunts. This pack's been really good for me. I've used this the last couple years, so check it out. Also, if you want, you can take off the lid. Depending on how many days I'm going to be out there, sometimes I do run it without the lid so I can save a little bit of weight. But it's a great pack. That's the Sky Archer 6400. Check it out for your elk hunts. I've carried out a lot of dead animals in this thing. It works great, fits me good. So, but yeah, that's pretty much everything. I hope I didn't forget anything. Usually when I do these, someone will say, oh, you forgot this, which I probably did. But this is why we do these gear lists, so you can lay it all out. You go through everything. It's July. I'm already thinking about going through all my gear. And one method I like to use, this is just me, is I like to set up all my gear out that I'm taking on my hunt a couple weeks, 3 weeks before the hunt, maybe even a month before the hunt. And so every day I walk by my gear, I can look at it, and I'm like, oh, I forgot this, or oh, I need some new batteries for this. So that's just kind of the way I do it. It's taken me a long time to get there. Usually I'm packing at the last second, and it's never very good when you do that. So I highly recommend getting your gear list in order way far in advance before your hunt, and you'll be good to go. So if you want to check out all this gear that I'm taking on my elk hunts this year, you can go to the collection in our gear shop. It has all the gear that I'm taking. You can look at it, you can buy it. Also, we're doing 2x points right now. So if you buy something and you're Insider member, you get 2 times the reward points that you then can use in the goHUNT gear shop. So it's a great time of year. Get your gear in order, get prepared. Hunting season will be here before you know it. It's usually right after the 4th of July, I'm in hunting mode. And then once August hits, it is full on hunting season for me. So time to get your gear in order. Check out the collection, our goHUNT gear shop, my elk gear list. Let's go hunting this year.